Now that we've removed all of the silver skin from the spare ribs, the next thing we want to do is to remove some of the fat. It's important to take some of the fat out of the barbecue ribs because you don't want to eat all of the fat. So if you're concerned about eating leaner foods, then you want to take some of this off. And that's why we have this knife. So we want to just grab some of this. A lot of this you can just take off with your fingers like that. But if you can't, just go underneath, take some of this off. We don't want to take all of the fat off the ribs because fat is flavor. Too much fat is not good. So we're going to take some of that off, just like that. Okay, get under here a little bit. And pieces like this is too much fat. Take that off. Okay, there's fat here. Just carve that out. Be careful not to take the meat out. Okay, more fat here. All right. All right, and we want to turn this over and take some of this fat off. Do you see all that? We want to take some of that off of there. Okay? Just trim it carefully. Again, we don't need to take it all off. There's fat there. You don't want to eat that. Take that piece off. That's a large piece of fat. Okay? Remove it. There's a little bit left in here. Leave some. Alright? That's enough. And here, we want to take off some of the fat. You see how that's coming off? Look at all that. You don't want to eat it. Okay. Now this is looking pretty good. We're close. Again, there's a little more here and maybe a little more right there. Okay? And that's about it. You don't want to take any more fat off of your ribs than that because, again, fat is flavor. The next thing we want to do is to trim this spare rib. Now, I'm from Chicago. Most of you know that I am. And I prepare Chicago-style barbecue ribs. And what that means is that we take an entire spare rib and we trim it down. If you can see, let me turn this over for you. You see the bone area here? This whole bone area comes off from here all the way down. And when this comes off, in Chicago, we call those rib tips. So I'm going to do a Chicago style cut for you right now. Alright, I know where the bone is, so I'm going to start it right here and come straight down. Alright, we're going to come straight down here, just like that. And this part comes off. Alright, make sure you have a sharp knife when you do this. Now this is just gristle, so a sharp knife will go through it. Alright, it's not bone, it's just gristle. But be careful when you're doing it. Okay, just get between there. There we go. We got them now. Okay, now this is what we call the rib tip in Chicago. You can go to many barbecue restaurants in Chicago and you can order what we call rib tips. You can get a large tip or a small tip. These are the tips. Now I'm going to cook this whole piece. I'm going to smoke this on the grill and cook it whole. When it's done, I'm going to separate these pieces, and the butcher's already separated some of them with the saw. So these pieces are going to become rib tips. These are absolutely delicious, and if you've never had rib tips before, you need to try this. Okay? So that's your tip, and the rest of this is your slab. Okay? Now this is your slab of barbecue ribs. This is what we're going to smoke on the grill. Another piece of fat. Let's get him. Boom. All right. So we're all set. Now the next step, obviously, is to season.